And it sounds like the storm is letting up for a little bit. Oh, all with the lightning. Lightning is still very active. Maybe if I stand right here long enough, you'll get to see our garden area. I love the way the air smells after a good rain. Oh, I missed it. Finally had some really pretty bolt lightning. We've had nothing but sheet lightning all night. As long as it's still safe, I could stand out here forever and listen to this and watch it. I was just talking to Logan about this years and years ago when Ronson was little. It was nothing uncommon at all to have regular afternoon thunderstorms. It'd pop up and we'd have a nice thunderstorm in the afternoon. It would last anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours, and then it'd be over, just enough to bring the temperature down a little and water the earth. And then it would pass, and you'd go about your regular afternoon duties. Go outside, go gardening, walking, whatever your pleasure was. And then at some point, all those wonderful afternoon thunderstorms that were regular, everyday occurrences, they just kind of seemed to stop. And we just had consistent heat and no rain throughout the summers. And now, it seems like last summer, we had this horrendous drought, and we had a heat dome that settled in over the Treasure Valley. And that heat dome stuck around for weeks and weeks. And it was torture. It was just torture. It was like being in an oven. We had a horrible water year. Couldn't irrigate our crop. Couldn't water our yard. Irrigation was shut off weeks ahead of time. Farmers really were hurting last year. Yards were burnt up and turned brown. We even had one of our roses that was originally, it was a Texas yellow. It burned up and we thought we'd lost it for sure. But it had one cane come back. And it went ahead and bloomed last year, and it bloomed yellow like it should have. This year, it came back, and it has 2 canes on it. But one cane that came back has blooms on it. The other one does not. But the one that's blooming is blooming red. It's supposed to be a yellow rose. It has reverted back to one of its parent plants. So now I'm trying to research it and find out what the parent plants are so that I can identify what it is now, instead of being the Texas yellow. And it's not the yellow rose of Texas, it is the Texas yellow. If anybody knows what varieties were used to create the Texas yellow rose, I'd sure appreciate the information. It's the most beautiful rose. It almost looks like a wild rose with a white stripe on one petal and a little bit of white around the center. Very beautiful. And then we discovered tonight our big giant yellow rose bush in the center of our yard is a yellow rose that the buds open up normally with a blush of peach around the yellow bud. As it opens up, the majority of that blush goes away, and then it fades to a pale yellow. There's no blush on it as the blooms die. However, this year, after that heat dome and the drought last year, my heirloom rose that's in the middle of my yard, which has been here for probably 30 plus years, now has almost no blush on any of the buds, and as the blooms fade and start to die, on half of the blooms it looks like somebody has splattered it with blood. It has just splatters of red on it. I've never seen it on there before. And I have lived here for 22 years. The rose bush was massive when I moved in, and I do not know the variety of it. I just know that it's an heirloom. But anyway, back to the heat dome and the drought last year. I'm thinking that heat dome and drought was the turning point for our weather. I've been telling my husband all spring that I have a feeling that we are going to revert back to the old weather patterns that we had 20 years ago, 30 years ago, here in the Treasure Valley, where we have those cooler summer afternoons where we have the thunderstorms and cooler in the mountains, and probably more snow here in the valley like we used to have during the winter. We certainly got a lot more snow in the mountains last winter, and our water year is definitely far better than it has been in a very long time. It's very interesting to follow weather and nature and see God's hand in everything around us. Now to figure out where all the bumblebees have gone. I'd love to see the giant bumblebees come back. I miss seeing them fly around and carrying the massive amounts of pollen on their legs as they flit from one flower to the next. Pollinating and doing the job that they were created to do. Our God is so awesome. He created the heavens and the earth, and He hung it all in balance. Each and every one of us was designed to do something special. All the way from the lowly worm to the honeybees, the bumblebees, the ladybugs, the mighty raptors, and every single human that's created. Every one of us has a purpose. Nights like this make me stop and think and reflect. How awesome is our God?